Hey, I'm Tom from Singular Health, and this is a brief introduction to the virtual surgical planning platform. For the purpose of this demonstration, user login and volume rendering has been disabled, so after you load a scan, this is traditionally the view you'd be presented with on the software. So all user interaction is done via the right hand trigger with the laser pointer, so you can simply hover over a button and pull the trigger to choose it. This then is the planning screen you'll be presented with, giving you the options within the surgical planning. First thing you probably want to do is import a model. So all the models on here will be imported via MFTP. So you can upload an STL file via 3DICOM, and then it will be given the option in the scan library to download the models here, and they'll be presented to you on this screen once they've been downloaded and are available. All the models are stored locally, so once it's downloaded, that's it. And that goes for everything is also done locally on device, so no API uploading is required after the fact the model has been brought onto the device. So we'll load up a mandible to start with. As you can see, it imports it, and under here we have the hierarchy view. This is where most of the interaction happens with the models, and this gives you an overview of the current structure of your models and files that have been imported. The wonders of having everything stored locally as well, it means we can actually import multiple models, so we can have multiple models imported, such as pedicle screws or cages or implants. There's no reason why we can't have multiple versions of those STLs imported at the same time, but to keep it simple for this demonstration, we'll just have one. From left to right, we are presented a little square. If we use again the same button, the trigger, to click on the square, it changes the colour of the model. These arrows will be used for parenting. This little eye icon is self-explanatory. It shows and hides the model, and this delete icon just deletes the file from the screen. Moving down here, we have access to all the 3D tools that are available. Starting with the Move, Rotate and Scale or Translate tool, we can click on that, and then simply, if you hover over a model, it will highlight blue, and then click on it, and it will represent green to show the model has been selected, or using that trigger. So this is the gizmo we're presented with. It's a combat gizmo that has all the movement controls you require to manipulate the model in 3D space. So starting with these arrows here, this lets us move up and down, left and right, and now the blue one is forwards and backwards. These squares let us move in the plane of the square that it's representing, and of course these let us rotate the model around. If you want to adjust the pivot of the model at any point, you can simply press the thumbstick in once, select it, you have the same controls, and then you can deselect it, and that lets us adjust the pivot. All the tools have the undo function as well, so it lets us go ahead and undo, and it will reset our pivot for us. If we move it around and decide we don't want to, we can simply undo it, and it brings it back for us. Further down we have stepping, so if you want to move the model in fixed increments, you can turn stepping on. Stepping can be quick selected by holding the grip trigger on that right hand controller. As that's depressed, as you can see, it enables stepping, lets us step, and then we can let it go. However, if we want to lock stepping on, we can simply press that toggle down there and it will lock stepping on for us without the requirement to press the grip trigger. And we can turn it off by pressing that trigger again. The same stepping can be applied for rotation, and then under that we have the ability to increase the scale of the model or decrease it if need be. So next up we have annotations. These simply mark on the model. The keyboard pops up so we can enter some text on the keyboard and hit done, and a little text box will appear. We also have the option to record audio by simply pressing the button. It will show red as you're recording, and then as soon as you stop it will do it, and then you can play it back, and of course you can delete the annotations. moving on to the measurement tool, if we select the measurements, there we go. It gives us a few options. So number one is going to be markers. We'll select marker, and exactly like it says on the tin, we can select markers that get bound to the model. So if we go ahead and decide we want to move the model around a little bit, obviously they're all going to be nicely locked into place per the model, like so. Going back to the measurement tool, we can then apply measurements to it as well, or we can do angles in a similar fashion, just like so. And now we'll go through and obviously remove all of the markers. Next up is the cutting tool. This is probably the most commonly used tool inside the vertical surgical planning software. If we select a model, we get a grid come up. As you can see, the grid is the cutting plane for the slice. So in a similar fashion to how you grab the volume data on the left-hand controller with the grip button, which is on your middle finger, reach forwards and you press the grip button and you'll be able to grab the slicing plane. As you can see, as you move through it, it represents the two slices that will be made, or the meshes that will be generated from your slice. You can fine-tune it by adding rotations across, or you can move it in translation as well. And once you're happy with your selection, you can simply slice the mesh. As you can see, the hierarchy automatically adjusts. So we have the parent hierarchy, which is if we want to move everything, we can simply select the parent and it lets us move everything, or we can go ahead and select the children and move those. If we go back into the cutting tool and select it, we can now see that the currently selected child is highlighted in green with the red interaction, and the other objects are highlighted in the transparency, just to clear up any confusion to which object you're slicing. And of course, if you want to, you can simply select the other one and we can make the slice on that one as well. If you make another slice to go into another child, the hierarchy again automatically adjusts and we can make any changes we need to do it from there. Of course, you can do all the normal controls, so if you want to delete part of a child, you can simply delete it and that will remove the child, and then we can just undo it. And of course, all the slicing can be done on device as well. So that rounds up the controls for the virtual surgical planning. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop me an email. If not, enjoy the software.